Hello, good evening, everyone. So, my name is Kapil C. Agarwal, and I'm the head of department in the lovely professional university, Department of Soft Skills 3. So, if you may be wondering that what is Soft Skills 3, so there are about three departments of soft skills over there. So, I'm the HOD of Department of Soft Skills 3. So, today the topic for discussion is personal interviews. Okay, and navigating personal interviews. Whenever we think of interviews, usually what happens is that we get very tense, that we have to prepare a lot, we have to think a lot. Maybe we can get questions of all types over here. तो क्या करने का क्या है? How am I going to prepare for it? Now, technically speaking, there is no particular way of preparing for a personal interview, but there are a few types of questions which I'm going to discuss today, which you need to be prepared of. So it will not take a very long time. In fact, there are many things besides the questions that you should be preparing. I'll be discussing that also today. So without wasting any time, let us start our topic, navigating personal interviews. So the question I'm asking you is that what is an interview? Can anyone tell me what an interview is? Um, so interview basically is comprising of two words, entre and vous. दो वर्ड्स हैं entre and vous. Entre means in French enter करना and vous means view देखना. So basically an interview means to enter and see. So in an interview, if the other person is seeing you, you're also seeing the other person. So you can see over here, the person is wondering what an interview is. So interview is more like a window. Now, why am I saying it's a window? Let me explain this to you with another slide. Just look at the green line over there, the green strip over there. In the green strip, you can see that there's a question being asked to a person, a fictitious person by the name of John Peter. If there's any John Peter amongst you, please don't mind. So, no offense. So, the question asked to Mr. John Peter is Mr. John Peter, your father is just a lowly attendant. Then how can you aspire for such a high position in our company? Now, whenever I start this in my class, I ask this question to many of the students and I ask them to stand up and give me answers to this question. So, some common answers that I get are, sir, I will tell them that, so what if my father is a lowly attendant? I have good morals and good ethics, and I will definitely do well in your company. Okay, that's a good point. Or someone gives me an answer, I will tell them, although my father is a lowly attendant, he's a very hardworking person. I have learned a lot from him, so kindly keep me. Or I will say something, sir, please don't look at my father. Just look at the work that I'm going to do and how I will be helping a company. I tell them one thing over here, that if the person is asking you such a question on your very first day or of your what do you call this, joining the company or before joining the company, don't you think it's an insult? If he's insulting you right now, what will he do later on? So my answer to them is stand up and go out. Now, why am I saying this? You'll say, okay, sir, you've said this. That means interview to hamara khatam ho gaya. Ab kya karna hai? See, you don't need such a job. First of all, interview, if the other person is looking at you, you are also looking at the other person. So when you go for the interview, understand one thing, it is not a one-way process where the person is asking a question and you are judging the other person, but it is a two-way process where the other person is also asking a question and you are also asking, you are also answering the questions over there. So first of all, in an interview, the chances of getting, question which is so insulting is about 0.01%. But understand one thing, that in an interview, you're not going there to beg for a job. That's my point. You're not going there to beg for a job. You are going in an interview to negotiate a job. So have that confidence in you that you are over here at equal position with the interviewer. You're going there to negotiate a job. Understand again, you're not going there to beg for a job. You're going there to negotiate a job. So with that, let us start understanding what the interview process is. So Basically, an interview, as I've explained to you, is a window in which you look at the interviewer and the interviewer is looking at you. It's a formal consultation. So, first of all, understand one thing. Okay, if it's a two-way process, it is not informal in nature. And many times, what happens is that interviewers try to make it look informal to get you out of your shell and to see the real you. Don't go for that. For example, you prepare for an interview in which a requirement is good communication skills, especially in English. The interviewer may try to ask you a few questions in Hindi or vernacular, whatever language you have. Arey yaar, kya haal hai? Acha, cool kar yaar, don't worry yaar. He's asking you to cool down simply because he wants to see the real you. He can ask you say something to you. Arey yaar, chill kar yaar. तू सीधा बता तूने जॉब करनी क्यों है. एंड यू में जन से सर अच्छी सैलरी है वरना जॉब तो पसंद नहीं है ये कंपनी तो इतना अच्छा नहीं लगता बट ये इसलिए कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि भाई जो ये सैलरी अच्छी दे रही है. नो, don't go into that trap. This is exactly what he's trying to find out. Keep yourself formal in the entire interview. And third point, if he's saying anything which is insulting you or which goes against your self-respect, you can stand up and leave. That is an option which is very much there. Okay, let's understand this a little bit more. Hypothetically speaking, imagine that you are a principal of a school. Again, tell you, hypothetically speaking, let's say that you are a principal of a school. And let's say your name is Sanjay, and the name of the school is Sanjay Senior Secondary School, Meerut. Okay. Now, what happens one day is that you're sitting on your seat, and a few faculty members come to you and they tell you that we have an issue. And the issue is that we need a French teacher, a teacher who can teach French. So you said, okay, great, we'll hire one. But then there is a doubt that actually the issue is that we have only 12 hours lecture to give the French faculty, the faculty who's going to take French classes. And basically means we otherwise have to give every faculty member at least 25 hours. So we cannot give, the rest 13 hours to this faculty. So what do? An idea comes, let's pay him less, but I don't think that will be viable. No one will apply. So what you do is you start the recruitment process and two people apply for the job. One person is Ajay and one is Vijay. Okay. Now let's take the example of Ajay over here. Now Ajay over here, as you can see, he is a postgraduate and a PhD in French. He's a gold medalist. He has 8 years of experience. A PhD, a gold medalist, 8 years of experience. And other is Vijay, who is basically only a postgraduate with 4 years of experience. Now, while they're sitting outside, one faculty member tells you, why don't we do one thing? Why don't we hire someone who can, for 12 hours come and take classes, and for the rest of the time, he can be the night warden. He can be the night warden of our boys' hostel. You said that's okay. So Ajay and Vijay are both called. Now, Ajay basically belongs to Meerut. He's okay with the salary offering, but he does not want to be a night warden. On the other hand, Vijay, who is lesser qualified, who has lesser experience, and is not even, as having accolades like a gold medal in his name, he belongs to, let's say, Amritsar. And he's willing to be a night hostel warden. Who will you choose? Ajay or Vijay? Come on, who will you choose? Ajay or Vijay? Ajay is a PhD, a gold medalist, and more experienced. Vijay has 4 years experience, just a postgraduate, and no accolades of gold medals in his name. Who will you choose? Vijay. Vijay will be chosen. Any sound person will choose Vijay. Why? Because Vijay is basically serving the purpose of a night hostel warden and also a French teacher. So over here, understand one thing, that sometimes if you do not get selected in an interview, then it may not be your fault. Maybe there's this particular product that they require, or a particular set of skills that they require from the person who's applying, which you may not be meeting. Okay, so now the question that comes up in our mind is that if I have all the necessary qualities, traits, personality traits, and all of the requirements which the interviewer is looking for, then means how will I tell it to him? How will he come to know? He will come to know through two sources. One is your CV, and one is the answers you give to the interview questions. Today, I'm going to discuss with you how to understand and how to deal with the interview questions. So, basically, in my experience, I have seen that there are about 10 different types of questions that you can expect in an interview. First is introduction. Second is questions which are counter questions to introduction question or introduction related question. Then a question which justifies your CV. Then there could be a question regarding your strengths, regarding your weaknesses, regarding your personal or professional life. Okay. And then helping the interviewer to make a choice. Then related to your professional knowledge. And then they can ask you related to the salary that you're expecting. And they could then ask you some stress questions. So let us understand all these questions one by one. First, let's start with the most important question and the very first question that they could ask you, and that is introduction. So the question that they ask you is walk us through your CV, introduce yourself, tell us something about yourself, briefly tell us something about yourself. So when you're giving an introduction, a normal introduction should be of about 90 seconds. Not less than 1 minute, not more than 2 minutes. Around 90 seconds should be your introduction, and you should be speaking at a normal pace. So always start your introduction by telling your name, your current education qualification, and also where you belong to. So you can start by saying something like, "My name is Rajiv Verma, and at present I am a student of BBA. I belong to the holy city of Varanasi." Okay. Second, you could discuss your short-term and long-term goals also. Short-term goals, now usually here is the catch. Students usually mistake short-term goals as goals for the next 1 year and long-term goals for the next 5 years. Now, your short-term goals are basically goals where you see yourself in the next 5 years. And long-term goals are where you see yourself in the next 20 years. Understand this thing, this is very important. Short-term goals is for 5 years and long-term goals is for 20 years. So when you're talking about your short-term goals should not be very different from the requirements of the company. Now, basically, why are they asking you the short-term goal of 5 years is because they want to see that are your short-term goals or 5-year goals aligning with the requirements of the company or with your company's goals. For example, if I am giving an interview, in this introduction itself, I tell them that in the next 5 years, I would like to pursue my post-graduation and then do a PhD, which means that you will definitely not stay in the company if you're going to pursue your PhD or do your post-graduation. Or if I tell them, in the next 5 years, I see myself in Amazon. In Amazon, the company which you are giving the interview is not Amazon. Will they then give you what you call this the job? Of course not, because you have already planned to leave the company, and the minute you get the better job, you'll leave the company. Or you're saying that, sir, actually, in the next 1 or 2 years, I'd like to start my own business. I'm planning a startup. Till then, I'm just working on it, and after 1 or 2 years, I'll start my own business. Which means you're planning to leave within 2 years. He may then ask you a counter question that, okay, so are you planning to leave the company in the next 2 years? You have dug a hole for yourself. Now you cannot come out of it. Now you cannot come out of this question. Okay, relate it with the discipline of your studies. So, for example, and also understand one thing, that your short-term goal should not be something which is completely not related to your discipline of study. For example, you cannot tell the person, if you're applying for a job of, let's say, a salesperson, you can't tell the person that, in the next 5 years, I'd like to see myself playing Ranji, cricket, or I would like to see myself as the top bodybuilder of the country. Your area of operations is not sports and bodybuilding. You are applying for salesman. So you should give a job, a short-term goal which aligns with that. So, for example, I would definitely, if I was asked this question, or in my introduction, I would say, in the next 5 years, I would like to see myself getting at least one promotion in the sales department where I'm working in a prestigious company like yours. I'm relating it with sales in the company like yours, and I'm showing them that I am basically interested in this job. Now comes long-term goals. 20 years, a question will come to your mind is that why would a company be interested in my long-term goals? Why would a company be interested in goals which I've set myself for the next 20 years? So over here, uh, the company would like to know if you are a person who has a vision in life. The company would like to know if you have any vision in life. Just excuse me for a second. Right, excuse me. So over here, where you see yourself in the next 20 years shows that you have some vision in life. Now, here, 20 years, you could have any fantastic dream of your life. So you'd like to start a chain of hotels. Maybe you could start an NGO, or 20 years down the line, you could also start a business of yours. That's quite okay with them. But of course, do not have a long-term goal which is not possible in the next 20 years, or which cannot happen after 20 years. For example, you cannot say that I would like to be an IAS officer. Nothing wrong in being an IAS officer, no offense. But the issue is that if you want to be an IAS officer, you cannot wait for 20 years. I'm sure if you're 18 or to 21 or 24 years of age, after 20 years, you'll miss the age of becoming an IAS officer. So you can't mention that. Then comes the third point: achievements, extracurricular activities, projects, internships. Over here, we follow a rule of three. The rule of three says that the person may not be able to retain all your achievements. So don't give me a long list of achievements. And this will also, hamper a rule of, 90 seconds or 2 minutes for the introduction. So better what you need to do is tell them any top three achievements which you'd like them to remember, and give a complete detail regarding the achievements. So prefer those achievements. Now I'm giving a small hack over here. Prefer those achievements which are the latest, which have a better, what you call this. So, for example, you won an essay writing competition in 10th standard, and you have won what you call a declamation competition last year when you have passed out 12th. The 12th one will be more important. Secondly, the higher the level of the award. So if you won a silver medal and a gold medal, prefer to mention the gold medal thing. It's more important. If you have done some project or internship, kindly mention that in detail. If you have done some project or internship, kindly mention that in detail. Because what happens is your projects and internships are what the company is more interested in. The company is more interested in the projects that you've done in internship, and highlight it. So, for example, if you're talking about projects, there are always three things you should talk about in your project: what the project was about, what was your role, and what was the end of the project. Internship, always mention where you've done the internship, which company, which department. At least three learning curves over there should be mentioned. Similarly, if you've participated in a what you call some competition in college which you won, mention the name of the competitions. So don't say I won a cricket match. I won a cricket match in 2022. In fact, you should say something like, uh, I won first prize in inter-school competition, 37th inter-school competition held at my college in Meerut. And I was actually, it was a very prestigious event because in Meerut, about 20 schools participate in that event. So elaborate on it properly. Then comes your hobbies. Okay. So hobbies, you can mention your hobbies, what you do, but also you can jazz it up. So rather than saying that my hobby is reading, you can say I like to curl up in the corner and have a hot mug of chocolate milk and read for at least 1 or 2 hours before I go to sleep. Okay. Or I'd like to saddle up my bike and go for a, and meet the nature in the morning by going for a cycling. So something like that can be mentioned over here. But always remember one thing, uh, you could expect some counter questions related to your hobbies. So you need to understand one thing over here. If you have, so the hobbies should be the ones which you can carry. Don't mention hobbies which you really do not have. Like this is one common thing which I've observed in many students. Whenever they ask their hobbies, they simply say reading. But I'll just, on a lighter note, let me tell you. Now, what happened was that I was conducting an interview because in my university, whenever the students are applying for MBA, they also have to go through two interviews, and I'm the one who usually conducts the interviews. So while I was conducting the interview, I asked a student, "What are your hobbies?" He said, "Reading." Okay, I told him, "So your reading is your hobby. Can you please tell me which are the names of any top three books which you've read recently?" Chetan Bhagat. I said, Chetan Bhagat is not a book, he's a writer. Could you please tell me which book he's read? Revolution 2020. Oh, I said, okay, if you've read Revolution 2020, can you give me the name of the college which was started by the, what do you call, the protagonist, the main character? Sir, I have read only two chapters. I told him it's in the first chapter, which means he did not have reading as a hobby. Okay, so he just mentioned it out of the blue. Similarly, one student told me, Sir, my hobby is playing cricket. So I told him, okay, you like to play cricket. Can you please tell me what is a googly? Googly, it is a type of a ball. Which type of ball? He had no answer. Then I asked him, okay, in cricket, who is a skipper? Now, for your information, a skipper is the captain. He didn't have that answer. So kindly do not mention hobbies which are really not your hobbies, which you don't actually do. So a person who says my hobby is cooking should know what a saute is. Okay, should know things like what a starter is. Similarly, the fifth point is interests. Now, what is the difference between hobbies and interests? For example, if you like to watch cricket and keep yourself updated with cricket and what's going on, then cricket is your area of interest. But if you play cricket, you do it yourself, it is a hobby. Similarly, you like to collect recipes from around the world, that is an area of interest. You like to cook, that is a hobby. So maybe you may not be having a hobby, you can also mention an interest. Then you can also in the end mention skills or strengths that you have. Okay, so hardworking, dedicated, what do you call, Excel, Microsoft, or you can mention anything, AI skills, all these quality skills which you'd like to mention, those are your qualities. Um, Now, when you've covered all these 6 points, a common question that may come into your mind is, "Ki, sir, if I'm going to say all of this cannot get over in 2 minutes. So what are you going to do is, you don't have to mention each and every point. You don't have to mention each and every point. For example, your hometown. You can see the 6 points. So the hometown, maybe you don't belong to a city of note, or it's very difficult for you to explain which village or which small town you belong to. You can leave that part. As of now, you've not decided a long-term goal. You can leave that part. Achievements, definitely you will require the three. Hobbies, you don't have. you can leave that part. Interest you don't have, you can leave that part. Now, don't make it a point that you're leaving out everything. It's just that, out of this six, you should have enough material to or enough content to speak for the next 1.5 minute, 90 seconds. So some things can be eliminated also from this. It is not, what you call this, exhaustive, that you have to mention all, especially so in the case of hobbies. If you do not have hobby, then please don't mention a hobby. Okay, right. A disclaimer at the bottom: do not discuss your weaknesses or your family details unless relevant. I've also put that in bracket, unless relevant. So you're saying do not discuss your weaknesses. So do not tell him things like, sir, I like to sleep a lot, or my greatest weakness is that I'm short of temper. I lose temper very quickly. I can't listen to people speaking at my back. Don't tell them anything which could be a reason for a deselection, which can give the person a reason ki, okay, this person cannot be selected. Similarly, kindly do not mention your family details unless relevant. So, for example, if you're applying for a job as an IT professional and both your parents are from the field of IT, you can mention it. Then that's okay. But if your parents are not from that field, uh, for no offense, but don't need to mention that. Family details, sometimes I don't know why students usually start their introduction like this. Good morning, sir. My name is Rahul Verma. I am from Ghaziabad. My mother is a housewife. And please, if you're mentioning your mother, don't say housewife. That's a very derogatory term. You can say homemaker. And my father is a mechanical engineer. So if you're not applying for a job of mechanical engineer, why mention things which are not relevant? So you can avoid that also. Okay, let's continue then. So these are basically the other 9 types of questions that you can expect from an interview. So I would like you to go through all these questions. I'm giving you a minute. Have a look at all these questions. So these 9 questions are technically the other 9 types of questions that you can expect in an interview. And please pay attention as I will be teaching you how to handle each of these types of questions. Okay. So let's start with the very first question. So this is basically I put 2 questions over here and I'll tell you why. So let's look at the questions first. Okay. The first question is, tell us about an example of your life where you have displayed leadership qualities, or how will you handle a team of diverse specializations? See, situational questions are basically of 2 types: situational questions and behavioral questions. So, situational question basically is, the behavioral question is a question from your past where you have actually done something which proves that you have a quality that they are asking for. A situational question is a mock situation they'll create, which you have to imagine, in which they would like to see how you will behave. So the first question over here, tell us about an example of your life where you have displayed leadership qualities, is a behavioral question because they're asking a question from the past. Now, to handle such questions, we have an acronym. You can note down the acronym: STAR. Situation, task, action, result. For behavioral and situational questions, the way we handle it is using the acronym STAR. STAR. Situational, situation, task, action, result. So, let's say you are asked this question. First, tell the person how you understand the situation and what was the situation. T, task. What was the challenge that you faced? A, action that you took. And R, what was the result? Now, A biggest mistake students commit with these situational questions is that their main focus is the A part, action. This situation happened, I did this. That is the biggest mistake, because that is not the answer that the interviewer, that the your prospective employer is looking for. He wants to see the S and T part mainly. What was the situation and how did you understand the challenge of the situation? A can be anything. Believe it or not, A can be anything. And R can be negative also, can be bad also. Let me give you an example over here. There's a student of mine from physical education, and I asked him the same question. He gave a beautiful answer. I told him, tell me about an example of your life where you've displayed leadership qualities. So he said to me, sir, about 2 years ago, I was in a football team. We were playing a football match. And by half time, my team was down by 3-0. So when I went into the dressing room, I could see that all were dejected. They had almost lost hope, and I was very sure by the frame of mind they were in, we would lose very badly, and I could not bear that. Even the captain of my team was feeling dejected. Mind you, here he has not taken an official position. He didn't say I'm the captain. He said that even my captain was feeling dejected. So at this time, I realized that with this level of dejection, we'll lose very badly, and there'll be no chance of us, winning in this game. This is the T, the task which he saw. Then he said, so what I did was, there was a what you call TV over there. I attached my what you call, I attached my mobile phone to it and started playing videos of football matches where team have come back from from losing positions. Now this is the action he took. Now it's not a very intelligent action. It is not at all a very intelligent action, but it is action anyway. The beauty of the answer till now is the situation and task analysis. Now, action, he said, I played the videos. This rejuvenated everyone, boosted them, motivated them, and we went and played the game. We scored 2 goals and did not let the other team score even a single goal. We lost the match, but we lost with respect. Now, mind you, the R, the result is bad. The result is bad, but what we have seen over here is that the person's situation analysis, task analysis, his action, whatever it be, the result is bad. The first S and T part was very good, and this entire answer was beautiful because it actually, here we were able to answer the we were able to give an answer which met the requirement of the prospective employer. He wants to see what kind of leadership quality you have, that you've shown. He is not interested whether you won or lost the match. He's also not interested in the YouTube videos that you played. He's interested in your situational analysis. I hope I'm clear over here. Similarly, you can expect a question in which the person may ask you something about your future, or ask you something about a hypothetical situation which can happen in future. So he can ask you, if you are given a team of diverse specialization, people from different specialization, how will you bring them together? Now, the common answer the students directly give is, so if they're people from diverse specialization, I'll call them, have a meeting, and tell them what to do. And I'm sure they'll all understand me. I have good communication skills, and I'll handle them properly. He doesn't want that. Situation, task, action, result. First, situation. Tell the person that if you give me a team of diverse specialization, uh, then I will realize that such people are very difficult to find very difficult to gel with each other, because they don't understand each other's problems, they don't understand each other's requirements, and to get them together and to work in cohesion, in coordination, is a challenge. Situation, task. Then you can say anything. So, sir, what I will do is I'll call all of them one by one, conduct a one-to-one, what you call this, counseling session, see where the issues are, and then call a meeting and ensure that we have a proper coordination. So what has happened over here? I have basically what you call uh, given you a star answer: situation, task, action, result. Next. So over here, the next question that you could expect, next type of question that you can expect in an interview, is something from your CV. The person may pick up a point from your CV and would like to know something about it. For example, a question could be: in your CV, you have mentioned that you have participated in an extracurricular activity. Can you tell me something about it? Now, it's written in the CV. He can read it. Why is he asking it again? Okay, there could be mainly two reasons behind this. Maybe that one part is something which is really, which has caught his interest. He wants to know more. So that's why he's asking you this question. Or maybe he wants to verify whether what you've written over there is truly done by you or not. Uh, I'll give a small example. For example, if I look at a CV, and like I am a linguist of sorts because I've traveled around a lot, so I know 5 languages. I speak Hindi, Punjabi, English, Marathi, and Gujarati also, and I can also understand smattering of Bengali also. So if someone has written that he knows 5 languages and maybe it has Marathi or Gujarati, I would definitely ask him a question: that how do you know Marathi? Because you've not been to Maharashtra according to your CV. How do you know Marathi? Now, this is because it is of my interest. For example, a student has said that I played for, Santosh Trophy I've played in football. I would like to know more. Definitely, it has because if he's played at that level, then he deserves to. I would like to know more. So when you're answering such a question, which is in which the person is asking you to justify your CV, don't make it short. This is an elaborate answer to be given. Here again, I follow an acronym called CARE. CARE. C for complete. I repeat, C for complete. A for accessible. R for relevant. E for evident. Complete, your answer should be complete. So if he's asking you something about an extracurricular activity, tell the person what was the name of the event, what was your position, why is this event so important, okay, when was it held, what was the venue if it's not from the place where you are studying. So give him complete information. So you can definitely tell the person, yes sir, I participated in a singing competition called Dil Se Naach, hosted by CT University, Ludhiana, in the year 2023, in which I got second position. Over there, I was especially appreciated for my for my knowledge of classical music. That's a complete answer. Give the person a complete answer over there. Next, weakness related. Now, sometimes the person may ask you a question which is related to your weakness. Okay. Uh, Now, this weakness which he has pointed out may be genuine or maybe ingenuine. And what is a common mistake I have seen students commit or career aspirants commit in the case of interviews is that what they do is that they start arguing with the interviewer. So what they do is like, so what, for example, let's take this question. It is evident that you do not have any work experience. Don't you feel that shall be a great demerit in your work? If I start answering over here, so what? So what if I do not have any work experience? If you give me job, only then I will learn. Or said, no. Even when you joined, even you must have started as a fresher. So do you mean to say freshers don't get a job? Uh, do not start an argument with the interviewer unnecessarily. You may be right, you may win the argument, but you lose a job. So to handle all weakness related questions, you should okay, before I continue, also one more thing. Sometimes the person, if he's asking you this question, believe it or not, he actually likes you. He wants to keep you. He actually likes you and he wants to keep you. How? Maybe he likes everything else of yours, and there is just this one point which he's slightly doubtful of. There is this just one point in which he's slightly a little doubtful of. So, what do? You help him by assuring him that this demerit will not affect your work. How do you do that? We have an acronym again to deal with such a situation, and that is called WAR. WAR. Weakness, action, result. So, over here, first of all, if your weakness is genuinely a weakness, accept your weakness. Okay, so you can say, yes, sir, I do believe that I do not have much work experience. Okay, accept it. Don't argue with the person. It will also satisfy his ego and make your interview more smooth. Then tell A, action. What action will you take to avoid that weakness or reduce that weakness? And R, result. Here you have to assure him that the result will be good. So, for example, if you're asking me this question, I would say, yes, sir, I agree with you. I do not have much work experience. But if I'm given a job over here, I'll definitely learn from the seniors over here and try to also do some online courses where I can enhance my effectiveness. And I think within 2-3 months you'll not have any problem. Similarly, they could ask you a question like, you don't speak much Punjabi, and this area is Punjab. How will you work over here? Don't you think that's a problem? Tell the person, yes, sir, I do agree. I don't speak Punjabi. But if I'm getting a job over here and the requirement is to learn Punjabi, I'll definitely do a 2-3 months, Punjabi speaking or Punjabi reading, writing course. And after 2-3 months, you'll not have any problem. This is a better answer than telling the other person over here, ki, sir, so what if I don't know Punjabi? Hindi is a national language. If I can speak Hindi, the other person should learn Hindi. Don't get into that. Okay. In fact, again, I'm telling you, if this question is asked of you, the person wants to keep you, there's a slight hitch which you need to resolve. Then this question is really very important because after introduction, this is one question where you need to what you call prepare yourself beforehand. Sometimes again and again in this question also there's one more thing that if this question is asked of you, again the person likes you, that's why he wants to keep you. So the question is, there's so many students in your class who applied for the same job, why should we hire you? Or why only you, why not somewhere else? The biggest mistake while answering this question you can commit is by comparing yourself by others, by telling, okay, others have this problem, I don't have this problem. Never compare yourself with others. Not only over here, anywhere in your life, never compare yourself with others. Comparing yourself with others is insulting yourself. So don't insult yourself. Here again, I'm using an acronym CAST. Always start by telling the company what you feel are the requirements of the JD or the job description that they have given you. Company requirements. A, attributes. What are the qualities that you bring to the company which meet those requirements? S stands for summer internship projects, internship, etc. Give a detail regarding that. And T, technical skills. So if you know computer, communication skills, you're a linguist, you know more languages, or maybe there's some AI that you know, whatever you have, you can mention that also. Kindly do not come to that point where you're telling the person why you are better. Tell the person, okay, sir, I believe that this is a sales job and your company requires a person who's young, energetic, who has good knowledge of marketing strategies, and who's also willing to go out and meet people. C. A. I would like to tell you about myself that I'm a very outgoing person. I've been a member of a club also in my college, and I have participated regularly in various what you call declamation and debate competitions. Besides that, sir, I'm a very, very energetic person. My hobby is gymming. And I also like network a lot and meet a lot of people. A, attributes of self. Okay. Attributes of self. Then you can also mention, excuse me, Okay, so over here, then you can also discuss your summer internships. You can talk about your projects that you've done, give complete details. This answer will also take about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. Okay, and then you can talk about your technical skills, which I mentioned before. Give the person a complete detail of your CAST, company requirements, attributes of self, summer internship, technical skills. And if the person still insists on you, okay, no, no, why only you? You can mention two or three more qualities. No, no, that's okay. Why only you? Mention two or three more qualities. Under no circumstances do you at any stage tell the person that you're better than others or others are lacking than you. Do not go into that. I had one of my students who was so forced to three four times to give the answer as per that requirement of the company that in the end he said had to say, he said, this is what I have. Now it's your choice. Just give me 1 second over here, please. Let me set this thing up. Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, so next question that can come your way is, tell us about your personal or professional experience. So basically, they may want to ask you, tell me something about your school, or they may tell you that maybe you've done an internship somewhere. Tell us something about the company. I have taught you about this acronym over here. Exactly, CARE, complete, adequate, relevant, and evidence. Mention it over here also. Complete, adequate, relevant, and evidenced. So tell them something which is complete, give them complete information, adequate, not too long, relevant, try to make it relevant to the job you're applying for, that how has that helped you in pursuing the career that you have opted for. And evidence, it should not be something which is too outlandish, or which is not basically, excuse me again, this is not working. Let me see. Right. So then comes a filler question. For example, if I ask you, how old are you? Your answer should be, I am whatever your age is. So I would say I am 50 years old. So when I'm talking about how old are you, it's a filler question. Every question is not a skeleton in the cupboard which has some what do you call this, reason why a person is assessing you. Some questions are just asked, maybe he's checking your CV, maybe he wants to skill some time, while he's doing that. So he can ask you, okay, how many languages you speak. Don't go into too many things. Don't say, like something like, I was born 21 years old ago, I was very small when I was born, now I'm very big. Don't go into that stuff. These are the filler questions. Answer them as they are. Next question comes a stress question. Now, what exactly is a stress question? In a stress question, what happens is the person asks you a question like, if you're offered another position with a better salary, would you take it? Now, you are stressed out over here simply because of one reason, that if you say yes, then that means you are crazy for money and that you leave. And if you say no, then it sounds that you are not being very honest, because no one would believe you. So this causes stress. In this, my suggestion to you is give an honest answer, but also ensure that the company is not facing any problems because of that. So if someone asks me this question, I would definitely say, yes, if I'm offered another position with a better salary, I will consider it. But before leaving, I will ensure that I'll basically uh, means ensure that your company doesn't face any problems. I'll give a proper resignation, fulfill the notice period requirements, and also ensure that the other person who's coming in my seat, I also get some time to train him also. And I'll always be available to the company for the next 6 7 months if they ever need me on the phone, if they want to know anything. I'll not be any problem for that. So tell the company that you will take the offer, but also tell them that it will not cause any problem to them. Now the next step question that you can face is a technical question. So technical questions, maybe they have asked you a question you don't know the answer to. For example, what's a God's particle? Many of us would not know what a Gauss particle is. So at that time, at the time, do not start getting nervous. The intention behind the question is to get you nervous, to see how you deal with such questions. So appreciate the question. Tell the person, sir, that's a very good, I'm sure it's a very good topic that you have raised, but I don't think I have the answer right now. I'll definitely check it out. Give the person the respect he's looking for. Also, that's a I've not actually heard of this nomenclature before, but definitely I'll check it out whenever I have time. Tell the person that it's a good question and that you'll check it out later on. Don't tell the person that it's don't show your nervousness over here, or don't even tell the person that it's a bad question or it's a trick question. Maybe it's not. Okay. Now comes the main question which you all are waiting for. Think about it. Question related to your salary. Now, he may ask you, what is your salary expectation? What is the salary that you're expecting? Okay. How much salary will you take? He can ask a question like that also. So, how will you handle this question? Now, usually what happens is that students get confused with this question because it has three different answers. So, let me tell you how it has three different answers depending on three different contexts. So, if, for example, you're going for a placement drive through your college, okay, through your college, you're going for your placement drive. In that case, what happens is you are not the person who's going to discuss the salary. The salary will be discussed by your TPC, training placement coordinator. God bless him. So you're supposed to tell the company that, sir, whatever has been decided between you and the training placement coordinator, I'm okay with that. Whatever argument you want to do with the about regarding the salary, you can do it to your TPC. He'll negotiate on your behalf. Normally in colleges, this is how it works. But I must say, also make sure with your TPC if that is the way it works. Secondly, you could go on an off-campus placement drive, and the salary over there has been advertised. So let's say you are expecting a salary of 1 lakh rupees per month, and they've advertised a salary of 1 lakh rupee per month. You go over there and they ask you this question, which means they are now looking for negotiating. So you can say to the person, okay, sir, as per your advertisement, you are advertised that you will be paying 1 lakh rupees salary. Anything above 1 lakh, I'm okay with that. But always understand one thing, in India especially, you have to give a margin of 20% around for the bargaining. So if you're going for 1 lakh, they will be bargaining up to 80,000. Kindly do not, in normal circumstances, expect a complete 1 lakh salary until it's a government job or something. They definitely would like to bargain with you, or bring out your weaknesses. Don't make it ugly. 20% they will do it. So this answer will be good. Anything above 1 lakh, if they argue with you, best bargaining will be about 80,000. Similarly, if you're going for a job where the salary has not been advertised and it's an off-campus placement where you're going for, at that time, for example, if you're expecting a salary of 1 lakh, add 20% to that and then add 10% to that, and that's the figure you should quote. Understand? You are looking for 1 lakh, tell the person, sir, anything around 1.2 to 1.3 is okay with me. Now, when you set the minimum range at 1.2, 1.3, then he will bring you down to 1 lakh, so that's where you can get your salary of 1 lakh which you're looking at, hypothetically speaking. So these are three cases of salary expectations. Now, common mistakes, as I told you, don't talk about your family or weaknesses. Okay, especially, and also do not give answers which you have taken from the internet. The answers should look very real. Do not mention things which are already there in your CV. Do not give answers which are not relevant to the job at all, as far as possible. For example, you're applying for a job of, let's say, a pharmacist, talking about that you joined this course because you're very a person who likes to be with his friends a lot, and many of your friends took up this course, may not be very relevant answer to give. Do not give any personal examples or additional examples, even they may ask for. For example, they could ask for a question like, do you have a what do you call this, girlfriend. So at that time, you can say, sir, there are many girls who I know, but no one in particular. Why? Don't go into that line. We don't want this interview to become informal. They are making you it informal to get you out of your shells. Usually, don't sound boring. Okay, don't overboast. Sir, you come to my city and you see, you can ask anyone my name, they'll know. Or don't give very short or long answers also. Uh, One thing I would like to suggest is that, when you go to the website of the company, in the website, if you go through that, you'll find some very, catchy words which you can use during the interview. Try at least five words, which you can take from there. Like, this is a website of Trident Group. I've took these words from there. And enriching experience, it's there in the website. You can see it in the message of the chairman. Over there, you'll find these words. Try to ensure that, that from the website, you can take out these words. Uh, Now, if tomorrow is an interview, you need to prepare. So prepare. What are the things you need to prepare? First of all, your clothes should be stitched. It should be proper. Secondly, wherever you're going, confirm the location. In fact, my father used to have a habit. He used to send me over there to go one day in advance to go and check the location. You may not go to that length now, but please ensure where you're going. You should know. Don't be late. Prepare your file properly with all your certificates, with your CV, with your resume, whatever you have. Check your resume again and again. You can expect, as I've told you, a lot of questions coming from your resume. Check out the company and its working. They may ask you something regarding the company. Do not brag that you know too much and that you've researched it, but at least some basic things should be known about the company. If you can go to the net, you can see many questions which can anticipate. I've told you the types of questions you can get, but you can also ask yourself questions. There are many apps also which will ask you questions, answer them, and just check out whether they are as per the requirement or not. Also, do not be quiet during an interview. Also, if the interview asks you to ask some question, ask them meaningful and productive questions. Don't talk about salary or vacations or holidays. You can tell them, you can ask them over there that, like, sir, before joining the company, what you would expect, what are the main skill sets you're looking for, what are your expansion plans, so that the company feels that you're interested in the job and the company itself. Technical aspects, now I don't know about others, but in MBA what we have seen is that the people conducting an interview usually ask questions from the first semester, what you call, books. I don't know why this happens, but they rather prefer that. So you can go through a few terminologies over there. You don't need to do an exhaustive study, but a few terminologies should be known to you. It's also a good idea if please read the newspapers for the last 1 week. If you're from the field of management, then like something like Economic Times or Business Standard should be read by you. Second last point, your mother will also agree with me. Food and water. Carry a small bottle of water. Nowadays, you get those mineral water small bottles that you get. So I just saw one, 500 ml being advertised by Deepika Pradukon. Not a bad idea. You can, have that also. Also, you can, wrap a chapati or make a roll, so that whenever you have time, you don't running around finding searching for food. Maybe they call you on a Sunday, their canteen is closed, you don't have anything to eat. You don't want to go there feeling thirsty and famished. Secondly, if you have some work experience, review their work experience. A lot of questions can come from that. Yes. So I know there will be questions from your side, and I'll try to take your questions as much as possible. Please write down the questions, and I'll take them as much as possible. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.